In this video, we're going to be discussing what are limiting beliefs, where do they come from, why would we even want to acknowledge them, and how can we overcome them so that we can get from where we are to where we want to be. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Smiles, and on this channel we talk about spirituality, the law of attraction, self-development, and making every day the best it can be. So if you're interested in that kind of content, then you're definitely going to want to subscribe below for new videos every Thursday and every first Sunday of the month for my new series called Spiritual Sunday. So let's get straight into limiting beliefs and let's talk about what they are. In a nutshell, limiting beliefs are beliefs that we carry that limit us from reaching our fullest potential or from reaching our desires. Every single person has limiting beliefs, we just have them in different areas. According to an author named John Kenny, the top 10 limiting beliefs are: number 1, fear of success; 2, fear of failure; fear we are not good enough to achieve what we want; fear of not being loved or being unlovable; fear of rejection, having negative beliefs on money. For example, rich people are evil, or money is the root of all evil, that kind of stuff. Fear of greatness, the belief that we don't deserve or we're not worthy of success. The belief that we have to work extremely hard for money, that money doesn't come easily. And the last one is the belief that other people will hold you back. Now, all limiting beliefs are pretty deep-rooted beliefs. So I want you to think for a moment, what are some of the beliefs that you think you resonate with the most, that are limiting you and that are blocking you from receiving things in life that you may want? Think about people in your life, relationships in your life, patterns that keep appearing for you in your life, whether it's your relationship with money or your relationship with a person, your family, your parents, your siblings, whatever it is, your friends, whoever the relationship is with, or it could be a person or a thing. Think about the pattern that you find yourself always thinking. Most of our limiting beliefs are actually inaccurate. So where do these limiting beliefs come from? They could come from many different sources. It could be from personal experience, something that you've experienced in your past. It could be the way you were raised. It could be the stories that you've been told. It could be the content you're consuming on a daily basis, and more. From the time that we are born, we are constantly learning in life. Whatever we see, if it has a strong effect on us emotionally, we will take that information, we will store that as memories, and our subconscious mind creates a belief based on our own personal perception of what we see, and it will make it seem like it is a truth. But the real source of where our limiting beliefs come from is from our own personal perception of the world. It's truly how we interpret the situation. It's not necessarily what people said. It's how you interpreted what they said and how your subconscious mind turned that emotional response into a limiting belief that you carry around with you in many different areas in your life. So for example, if your parents maybe told you growing up, you're not gonna get into college, you can either A, accept that as a truth and carry that around with you as a limiting belief that is constantly playing in your head, limiting you from even trying to get into college. That's number 1. Or number 2 is you can say, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know my capabilities, you know? So it all comes down to perception, interpretation. How do you react when someone says something to you? Now, our thoughts are very important because they lead to emotions. And what emotions leads us to is to act and to react. So we know what limiting beliefs are now, but why do we want to overcome them? What's the point? And honestly, the answer is just because it's holding us back from so much of what we want to accomplish and so much potential happiness that we could reach. If you can eliminate 5 limiting beliefs in your life will completely change for the better. Sometimes we won't even try things because our rational selves won't even attempt something that it thinks it's gonna fail at anyway. I mean, why would you even try to lose weight if you had that belief that everyone in your family is doomed to obesity? If you are practicing spirituality or just bettering yourself, self-development, self-improvement in any way, then limiting beliefs are going to be a huge blockage of you reaching your fullest potential, of you becoming better. Without belief, action won't come. And action is what is required of us if we want to change our current life circumstances. But as soon as we think that what we're doing is not going to work out, our mind just thinks, why even bother? Why should I even continue with this? So let's say you're trying to create a business, start up a business, but like most people have a limiting belief that they don't deserve success, or that success will be extremely hard, or we're afraid of failure, or just of not achieving success. Most of us decide way too quickly that if one thing doesn't work out, then why even bother? It's just not gonna work out. Well, that in and of itself is a limiting belief. If we don't believe that the best possible route will work out for us, then we will spend a lot of time following a less direct path in an effort to work around the limiting belief. We'll actually save time by dealing with the cause, dealing with the limiting belief, so that you could take a very direct path to where you want to be. Okay, so how do we overcome? Very simply, we need to create a paradigm shift. And what a paradigm shift is, for example, this is us, right? We have a very set belief system, we have limiting beliefs, we have the way we currently view the world is in this paradigm. But if we switch to a different paradigm, a different way of looking at the world, a different way of thinking, we can completely switch to a paradigm where those limiting beliefs don't serve us. Let's think back to the time when all of humanity thought the world was flat. Okay, there was a time when the global masses was in that paradigm that was not open to seeing the truth, the evidence. So the global paradigm was one way. We had one way of thinking, and we were very set in our idea that the world was flat. What do you mean? It's a flat surface. It has to be flat. But all of a sudden, scientists started coming out and saying that the world is round. We find the world in a new paradigm, a new way of seeing the world. Whereas before, people would discredit the scientists, people would say they were crazy and completely brush it off because it was beyond that paradigm. They could not see it in this current level that they're living in. But when the global consciousness switched to a different paradigm, the way we viewed the world had changed. So that's a big example of what a paradigm shift is. But another example of that is if you told someone 200 years ago that in 200 years, I'm gonna be able to cross the ocean, be on the opposite side of the world, and we're gonna be able to talk to each other just like that. Opposite sides of the ocean, and we're gonna be able to talk to each other. They would think you're crazy. The way of thinking at that time in the world was not open to that kind of expansion, that idea. So as technology advances, the global paradigm changes. We start to see that there's way more possible than we originally thought. But what it took for the people to change their minds wasn't just someone telling them, oh, the world is round. They had to be open to it. They had to be educated. So paradigm shifts don't just happen. It takes effort, it takes research, it takes practice, and it takes a desire to want to change. If we can so easily now believe something that 200 years ago would have been seen as witchcraft, and you would have been thrown in jail or worse, killed, for even saying this out loud, for even truly believing that this was true, then why can't we, on an individual level, decide, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds? Then why can't you pass the exam? Why can't you make more money? Why can't you be happier? These are all beliefs that are just simply not true. You can, but as long as you're stuck in the paradigm with those limiting beliefs saying that you can't, then you won't be able to. You must be able to shift your paradigm. So how do we actually make that paradigm shift? How do we go from thinking one way about the world to completely another way of the world where our limiting beliefs no longer exist? So to answer that, I made a 5-step process that we can use. Number 1 is, in order to change anything, and you guys already know this, is that you need to identify what it is that you are changing. What is it that you want to change? I want you to make a list in all the areas in your life that you have challenges with. Because if you have a challenge in an area, that is a sign to you that you have a limiting belief in that area. Because at the end of the day, we create our life based on what we think. Is it hard for you to make more money? Is it hard for you to find the right person, to find the right relationship? Why are you constantly attracted to those type of people? Acknowledge what are the patterns in your life in every area. Everything that is blocking your happiness. If it's not blocking your happiness, then forget it. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about things that are getting in the way of you receiving what you want. You want a lot of money, but it's not happening. Write it down. That's a challenge. There's a limiting belief there that you can and will work through. Number 2 is to find out what that belief is. If you have a challenge, let's say in relationships, in finding the right person, then maybe your limiting belief is that you are not deserving, that you are not worth it of love. And once you find out what that limiting belief is, I want you to ask yourself, is this belief true? Is this based on factual evidence? Have you experienced this enough times that this is 100% a fact? Or can you change the outcome? Is it possible that this idea that you are not worthy of love came from a past experience that you are now carrying into every new relationship that you enter into? Okay, if it is, you found that all out, ask yourself, is this true though? Is it true that I don't deserve love? Because if you believe that we're all human and we're all pretty much equal and our brains work in very similar ways, then everyone is worthy. Why would you be less worthy if you believe others are? Number 3 is to really find out, where did you come up with this belief? Did your limiting beliefs on health come from your family life? Were your parents wealthy people? And then consider whether that source is a valid source, or is it just something that you accepted and you carry that around with you. Number 4 is to simply state to yourself, I choose not to believe this anymore. This is not true. Now, of course, the first couple times that you're gonna say this and repeat this to yourself, it's not gonna sound genuine. It's not gonna be real. But the more you say these affirmations to yourself, the more you decide that this is no longer a belief that you want to carry, then you will begin to believe it. The key here is identifying and putting your focus into it so that you know what it is to change. And these things sound so simple, but why is it that we're still carrying them around? It's because we're not working on it. If we want to be happier, why don't we do that work? We step back and we say, no, it's just not meant to be. That's a limiting belief, that you're not meant to be happy. You're just not meant to be happy, so why even try? That's a limiting belief. After this, if that doesn't work for you, I want you to research, actually do research and find evidence that backs up why you are worthy, why you are deserving, how you can make that money, how you can find that relationship. Make it make sense in your mind. Understand that you're not a rare case. Go out of your way to try to find reasons why this limiting belief is false. Do everything you can to doubt your limiting belief, to question it, to research it, to debunk it. And the more reasons that you could find that discredit that belief, every time you start to feel like that belief is creeping up on you, you can easily remember the evidence that it is not true and just continuously remind yourself and practice acknowledging when those limiting beliefs are popping into your mind and being able to change them based on evidence. Replace that limiting belief with a better one. So you want this belief to be the opposite of what your limiting belief is. So for example, if you are someone that believes it is very hard for you to lose weight or maybe even nearly impossible, I want you to create a new belief that states, I am someone that can do anything I set my mind to do. I am someone that can shed weight easily because if I really try, I can do anything that I want. And just create a new belief so that every time you start to hear those thoughts, you start to hear that belief in your mind that says, you're just destined, just give up now, there's no point. You can remember that new belief and instantly replace it for the old one. And when you're creating this new belief, you want it to sound very realistic because you want to be able to use it to really talk yourself out of those limiting belief thoughts in your head. After all these 5 steps are done, you need to continuously check up on yourself. How do you feel about your new belief? How do you feel about your old belief? Is it working? Is it not working? What do you need to adjust? Maybe there are new limiting beliefs that you're realizing that you want to get rid of. Is your behavior changing? If your beliefs change, then the way you feel and act will change too. your entire paradigm will change. And you will probably discover new limiting beliefs as you're on this process. But that's the beautiful thing, because as you level up, you discover other things that you can improve on in your life. And you just continue improving and improving and improving, changing your paradigm, getting rid of those limiting beliefs. Each time you get rid of a layer, every time you get rid of a limiting belief, your life becomes so much better, so much more fulfilling, and like a chain has been released. So I just want to end this video off by saying, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right either way. So what do you choose to believe? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please subscribe below and leave a like. It would really help out my channel. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one.